He cannot enter the kingdom of God. That which is born of the flesh is flesh. But, and, that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. He says, do not marvel that I said to you, you must be born again. The wind blows where it wishes, and you hear its sound. We don't really know where the wind comes from. There's no meteorologist, there's no scientist, there's no one who can study and tell us where wind comes from. Just like our faith. We can tell you what faith does functionally in Hebrews chapter 11. We can talk about Abraham, we can talk about David, we can talk about men and women of faith all throughout the Bible, but we haven't talked about where it comes from yet. The same thing, he's saying here, Nicodemus, he's saying, look, Nicodemus, you're all confused about earthly things because you're looking at how this natural birth comes. I'm talking about a birth of the Spirit and of water of God. He says, you've got to be born of me.
Yes.
Nicodemus said, I don't understand that. He said, well, Nicodemus, let me explain it to you like this. Where does the wind come from? We don't know. But I see the wind when the trees rustle their leaves. I see the wind when I have a receipt in my hand and it blows out of my hand. I'm chasing it across the parking lot. I see the function of the wind. But you can't see the wind. You can't know where it comes from. So it is with our faith, Nicodemus. You came to me with a concept, with a framework. You came undercover at night. You came based on what somebody else told you about me. But have you come to me in spirit and in truth? And he says here, Jesus answers, Nicodemus, if you don't understand earthly things and believe, which is synonymous with faith, then how can you, Nicodemus, believe, will you yourself believe heavenly things if we're still caught up in earthly things? The problem with Nicodemus is he comes with this concept about God, and it's leaving him stuck. He's coming to God with an earthly measurement, an earthly kind of comparison of what he's expecting and what he's thinking that God should look like and what he's thinking that God should do based on his earthly experience. But he hasn't yet gotten heavenly, he hasn't yet gotten spiritual. That's why Nicodemus shows up on his job and he falls apart at the first hint of trouble. That's why Nicodemus gets that call from the doctor and he's totally unraveled, because Nicodemus has only been looking at things earthly. The doctor said this, what should I do? Look to the hills, Nicodemus, from where your help comes from. You don't see it. You don't see it blowing in your life. But if you're looking in the right place, then you'll functionally see God move on your behalf. And that really is the problem. That we come with a framework. We come expecting God to do something based on what we've seen, but it's limited. And the question for Nicodemus this morning is, what do you see? Do we see earthly things? Or do we see heavenly things? When we find ourselves in need of transformation, that because our anxieties have gotten the best of us, our fears are staring us face to face, do we see the transforming hand of God in our faith? Or is our faith limited to a past experience or somebody else's blessing or somebody else's? Have we gotten to the point in our faith where we're allowing God to transform us?